As tensions between Dinavhek and Tal'Urra escalate, the return of a race thought to be long extinct threatens to plunge all of Zarama into chaos. Meanwhile, the Prince of Dinavhek grows restless as he watches his people continue to suffer from poverty and increasing violence due to the nation's continuing state of unrest. What started out as mere border skirmishes has grown into full-fledged raids along the countryside. His own council undermines his every attempt at restoring the peace, and he is forced to turn to an unlikely ally to save his home. Faced with enemies not only on the outside, but from within, will the prince have any hope of saving Dinavhek? Greetings, boys and girls. TripleHate 33 here, with a very special announcement today. My good friend, Tal'Urra Steelfang, has just published the first volume of their fantasy series, Tales of Zarama, Volume 1, Dinavhek, The Fall. I have had the opportunity to work closely with this author in the creation of this book, in seeing it progress, and I can safely say, now that the completed version is before me, this is, no exaggeration, one of the best fantasy stories I have read in quite a long time. It is very character and politics driven. All of the people involved in it feel very real, with all their individual quirks and foibles. In particular, mistakes. This is a series where everyone makes a mistake at some point, and we all have to pay for it when it happens. And also deals with a number of social issues, first and foremost being oppression in all its forms. The author is very good about not hammering you over the head with these points, neither just letting them pass by in illusions. They are presented straight and as ugly as they deserve to be. This is, again, not your typical action-slashy Lord of the Rings type fantasy, more character and narrative focused, but having seen quite a few of these myself, I can vouch that this is probably one of the best I've seen, and if you're not hooked by the end of this, then, well, there may be something wrong with your tastes. But if you weren't already hooked, here, as a special treat, allow me to read to you the prelude of this story. The oldest legend known to the people of Zarama is that of the creation of the gods Anakasi, guardian of the moon, and Oranuken, the lord of the sun. Divided as they are by bitter hatred, the one legend the people of Zarama all share in common is the legend of their sun and moon, albeit twisted as it is by those hungry for power over the masses. In the beginning, there were 3 great deities that ruled over Zarama. Vanahira, the ever-balanced goddess of nature, by whom the forests, seas, plains, and deserts were all crafted. Next was Yaryasubra, god of the moon. It was he who gave the gift of magic to the people, allowing them to take charge of their own destinies and shape the world in ways he would not. Finally, there was Alamipete, goddess of the sun. It was she who crafted all of the great races, thus bringing life to the lands created by Vanahira. And so these 3 ruled over Zarama for millennia, never quite agreeing on how best to handle the conflicts between their creations. Vanahira, defender of men, thought it best to leave them to their own devices. nature could be both beautiful and hideous, wonderful and cruel, lively and rotting. She saw the best and the worst traits that the people of Zarama had to offer, and so she took it upon herself to defend them to her comrades. Heart torn by grief as he was forced to watch his children slay each other, Yaryasubra, light of the people, could not bring himself to ignore their plight. Neither could fair Alamipete, bringer of justice. While Yaryasubra wished to free the people from their own savagery, Alamipete, feeling as a betrayed parent as she watched her own creations turn upon each other, wanted only to end the savagery by any means necessary. And so did she decide to purge the world crafted by Vanahira and begin anew. Vanahira pleaded with Alamipete, wishing her to see what beauty there was in the hearts of her creations. But Alamipete, seeing only imperfections, could not be swayed. She flooded Vanahira's forests, plains, and even deserts, destroying all life, or so she thought. Though few in number, the Dravelish, the ancestor linking the elven, dwarven, human, and Dagaz together, survived. To the surprise of each of their creators, the Dravelish even managed to thrive in the new world. They managed to find ways to overcome each obstacle set in their path by the capricious Alamipete. Vanahira's heart soared as she watched the Dravelish evolve. As they took to new corners of the world, they slowly began to change in form. At long last, she and Yaryasubra managed to convince Alamipete to let them be, in favor of observing their continued growth. It seemed as if the gods at last found their peace amongst themselves. But this was only the beginning of yet another great conflict. As the new people of Zarama began to form their own lands, and those that accepted Yaryasubra's gift of magic used their abilities to repair some of the damage caused by Alamippete's flood, the sun goddess had yet another issue to worry about: the birth of her son, Oranuken. Yaryasubra, too, had his own child. She was to be known as Anakasi, and she, much like Oranuken, possessed the abilities of her parent. Vanahira saw this as a chance to unite her companions. If Anakasi and Oranuken could overcome their parents' differences, the world of Zarama might see a new great age, perhaps a true age of enlightenment. Alamipete wouldn't hear of it. If her son was to someday succeed her as the god of the sun and bringer of justice, he could not be weakened so by the light of the people, be it Anakasi herself or her father. And so, the sun goddess conspired to put an end to Vanahira's dream by slaying Anakasi before she could inherit all of her father's powers. Yaryasubra, giver of magic, knew this day would come. He was ready for her, and defended his daughter with all of his might. Their great battle nearly destroyed the heavens. the moon perished, and the sun dimmed. Both gods were destroyed in the fight, leaving the world of Zarama with their young children to succeed them. Unable to restore the brilliant silvery light of her father's moon, Anakasi was forced to create an entirely new one, which shined even greater in the night sky. As for Oranukan, he was able to restore the sun to its former glory, though his mother's soul was truly gone. He shared with her, in his heart, contempt for the moon. Far from being united, as Vanahira once hoped, the sun and the moon held even more hatred for each other than ever before, and so, too, did the struggling people of Zarama. The fair goddess feared that the helpless mortals would soon find themselves in the center of an inevitable war between Anakasi and Oranukan. Unfortunately for the people of Zarama, the conflict between the gods proved to be the least of their troubles, as the elves, dwarves, humans, and Dagas grew separate from each other. They began to see only their immense differences, rather than all of the traits they shared in common. Before long, the shared history among the people of Zarama became a lost relic, known only to the most ancient of hearts. As each of the gods' creations chose their own path, history was rewritten. However, the truth would not remain buried indefinitely. As the people of Zarama began to turn against each other, many more great wars were fought, and entire cultures were eradicated. The Dagas, a shape-shifting race thought to be created by the goddess Anakasi herself, were among those lost civilizations. Once thought lost to the world of Zarama, the people known also as the Beast Folk would begin to resurface. The secret of their disappearance would soon be uncovered, and the world would once again be plunged into chaos.